KOB Eyewitness News 4 at 6.
What started as a peaceful protest against police, the jail system, and the recent mistrial of two former APD officers turned into mayhem when protesters decided to take their message into the streets. This was a scene just 24 hours ago in front of District Court. The protesters blocked traffic for those trying to drive down Lomas. One of those drivers was Riley Spill. Our cameras were rolling as he tried to make his way through the crowd. Protesters then started to attack his truck. We're going to go now live to Kai Porter, who's on Lomas near 4th, to hear what happened next. Kai.
Tom, as you know, it was a wild scene out here in front of District Court this time yesterday as protesters started blocking traffic on Lomas and even physically attacking a couple of the drivers. One of them says he had no choice but to pull out his gun to protect himself.
This is going to cost several $1,000s to get fixed.
Riley Spill showed us the damage protesters did to his pickup. It's covered with dents and scratches. He says the protesters even stole some of his work materials out of the truck bed.
It's not good what these protesters did.
Spill and his girlfriend were headed to dinner when they came face to face with the angry mob at 4th and Lomas. We were broadcasting live as a couple of the protesters started attacking Spill's truck, pounding on the hood and slamming their signs into it. This young man hitting the truck so hard his sign snapped in half. Fearing for his life, Spill decided to defend himself.
After the individual with the checkered shirt threw his sign at my mirror and at my truck and busted it, that's whenever I did lift up my firearm because I was well within my right to protect myself and the individuals within my truck, my home. And that's whenever they all scattered.
Spill has filed a police report, and he plans to press charges against the protesters who did this. Luckily for him, it was all caught on live television. All of the evidence he needs after these violent protesters took things too far.
I totally understand the right to protest and freedom of speech. You have that right. I exercise it every single day. But whenever you start invading in people's privacy, causing damages to their property, stealing things out of the bed of their pickups, you have a problem. That is no longer a protest, and that is a mob. It's technically a mob.
And if you recognize any of the protesters in that video, Albuquerque police would like you to call 242 cops, any of the protesters, I should say, that took part in the attack. Coming up tonight at 6:30, the reward that is being offered for anyone who comes forward and turns the suspects in. Tom?
Thanks, Kai. Crews spent the morning cleaning up the mess left behind by the protesters, most notably cleaning up red paint in front of the courthouse. No one's been charged for that vandalism. Charges have been dismissed for the woman accused of being an accomplice in the shooting death of an Albuquerque Army veteran. That would be Veronica Trimble, who was spotted on surveillance video in the area that night in February. Matthew Chavez is accused of killing Tyler Lackey at an ATM. After today, he is the only suspect, and that does not sit well with Lackey's mother.
The defense was claiming that she was a victim, held against her will and kidnapped. But Tyler's the one who died with 3 bullets in his chest. He's the victim.
Today, both sides agreed there just was not enough evidence to put Trimble at the actual crime scene. Fabian Gonzalez also stood in front of a judge today. He is one of the 3 suspects accused in the rape and murder of 10-year-old Victoria Martins. Today, he was in court to address the probation violation in another case prior to Victoria's death. He was sentenced to 1 day because of time already served, but he won't be getting out of jail anytime soon. He is still being held on a $1 million bond in the Victoria Martins case. We're learning more about the man who was in a standoff situation with Albuquerque police for at least 12 hours yesterday. 31-year-old Joseph Grubb, also known as Superman Amir, is charged with assault on a peace officer and criminal damage to property. Police say Grubb climbed on the roof of a building on Central yesterday morning for hours. He allegedly ripped up the roof and threw items down at officers and cars. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Grubb has a history of creating big scenes. Just last month, police say he was running in and out of traffic on I-40 near 4th Street. That caused a number of crashes. Eastbound I-40 near Route 66 Casino is back open after a deadly crash this morning. Several lanes were closed as Bernalillo County Sheriff's deputies investigated that crash. Deputies say the victim is a woman in her 40s who was driving a rental car. A new story on BuzzFeed is getting a lot of buzz in the presidential race. It claims 5 teen beauty pageant contestants have come forward saying Republican nominee Donald Trump entered their dressing room filled with near-naked teen girls. One of the women quoted is Miss New Mexico teen from 1997. Victoria Hughes represented our state in the national pageant in South Padre Island, Texas. KOB Eyewitness News 4 reached out to Hughes to confirm the BuzzFeed report, but we got a very different story. Hughes tells us the teenage contestants were warned in advance about a surprise visitor.
They definitely gave us plenty of time if anybody was not decent to get some clothes on, and the chaperone opened up the black curtains, and here comes Donald Trump walking through the black curtains.
Hughes says she can't guarantee every contestant was covered. You're going to hear more about her story tonight at 10 o'clock. Trump's 2005 remarks are being felt here in New Mexico. So how does our GOP party feel about them? Our Kasia Grigorchek caught up with some Republicans, and many of them are not happy.
We heard from the Republicans of New Mexico on this issue. College Republicans and even Governor Susana Martinez spoke out.
After the comments that were made by Mr. Trump, there should not ever be a comment like that made by a man about another woman. And it's appalling. It's a sad day in America.
So would Governor Susana Martinez go so far as to support the Democratic presidential nominee?
I can tell you that I am not going to vote for Hillary Clinton.
The governor's staff only allowed one question per reporter, so KOB was not able to ask about her reaction to the Republican Party of New Mexico standing behind their presidential candidate. An official statement released Monday reads, "The Republican Party of New Mexico continues to support Donald Trump and looks forward to getting Republicans elected come November." The Republican National Committee also spoke out to reaffirm its strong relationship with the Trump campaign. However, college Republicans at the University of New Mexico will not be following suit. The group released its own statement after Trump's most recent offensive remarks, saying they stand with Governor Martinez on this one.
It's unclear who Governor Martinez will officially cast her vote for, but the college Republicans have spoke out and said they'll support Gary Johnson's campaign. Back to you.
State police are using food benefit records to track down a man who was wanted for questioning in the death of a 67-year-old Nambe woman. The body of Elvira Segura was found at her home more than 2 weeks ago. Investigators believe she had been dead for several weeks. The man wanted in this case is 57-year-old Robert Mondrian Powell. According to the Santa Fe New Mexican, officers have seized his EBT credit card transaction reports in hopes of finding him. If you know where he might be, call police. An undercover prostitution sting landed this man behind bars in Bernalillo County. According to the Attorney General's office, Tyrone Davis admitted to pimping out girls on a website. He was caught after allegedly dropping off a prostitute at an undisclosed location where agents were waiting.
Gorgeous day here in New Mexico, well, central and western New Mexico, with abundant sunshine, light winds, even with the cold front that passed by last night and early this morning. And we expect more of the same over the next couple of days. Still, the potential for fog exists for some of you folks there in southeastern New Mexico, where it's tranquil for now, and we do expect clear skies and light winds for the rest of the state throughout the night. So we'll talk about the sunny skies that will prevail here over the next few days. A heat wave is on the way. We're talking about highs in the 90s for some locations. We'll show you where coming up in my full forecast. Tom?
Thanks, Jorge. This month, one of the most popular Broadway musicals ever is on stage here in Albuquerque. The Lion King has returned to New Mexico for the first time since 2012. Erica Zuko got a behind-the-scenes look at how the show comes together.
We wear this during the Lioness Hunt.
This is just one of 9 costumes ensemble member Amaya Burrell wears as she helps transform Popejoy into Pride Rock.
You'll see me as a lioness a couple of times. You'll see me as a zebra a couple times, a hyena, a grass head. I'm some of everything. I'm everywhere.
As you might imagine, there's a lot going on backstage to pull it all off.
We call it like our backstage choreography.
Wardrobe supervisor Gregory Young leads a team that cares for more than 300 elaborate costumes.
You go from your muted tones, the golds, the browns, the rust colors, into the very bright yellows and golds and pinks.
That's beautiful. Those outfits help define the mood of the show.
It's that transformation and the traveling that it takes to perform the audience into in that land of make-believe.
Burrell agrees and says they help create the magic behind The Lion King. And it probably really moves,
It does, it flows, it billows, it's just one of the most creative costumes ever.
But it's the music and the story that bring it all together.
It's a story about love, it's a story about family, it's a story about, finding yourself again, which everyone can relate to.
If you have the chance to see it, you'll not only go on their adventure, but you'll choose your own too.
Well, they call it the dual effect. If you have a puppet on top of their head or in their hands, and you could either watch the puppet because they have to. Puppet is talking at the same time the actor is talking.
Okay. So
the dual effect is you can go either way. You could look at the performer, actor, or either look at the puppet.
Erica Zucco, KOB Eyewitness News 4.
If you haven't seen Lion King yet, you can buy tickets at the UNM bookstore, the Pit, Albertsons, or at unmtickets.com. Tickets start at $48 a piece. People in one metro neighborhood say they're fed up with crime and a lack of law enforcement to do something about it. So neighbors are banding together to take on the problem themselves. How they are doing that tonight at 10 o'clock.
Soccer players are complaining about fields they call dangerous, causing injuries. We're looking into who's responsible for making these fields safe.
Lights, camera, action. Another movie is being filmed in New Mexico. We're going to tell you where and which stars are going to be in it.